So crack a beer, join the crew, let the colors flow. Big D's brushes live. Yeah, welcome to the show. Got dwarves with their axes, knights on their steeds, orc war bands ready for their wicked deeds. I'll show you all the tricks, the blends and the glaze, little pain and secrets from my hobby days. No pressure here, just hang and chat, share stories of battles and pain mishaps. We laugh, we learn, mix colors on the fly, watching warbands grow beneath the brush as time goes by. Every stroke and every color tells a tale, from victory's glory to the warrior's trail, with the thread of chaos on the rise. The heroes tell no lies, with their blades in hand. It's time to purge this evil from the land. So crack a beer, join the crew, let the colors flow. Big D's brush is live. Yeah, welcome to the show. Let's paint!
Alrighty, it's time for Big D's Brush, episode 3. Had a little bit of a spoiler there for a bit of new music that I had that I've got planned for later on. Oh. Just enjoying a nice beer. Yes. Told you I'd be organised. I told you. I said I'll have it right next time. Mr. BitDot in the chat, kicking it up. How are you, bro? Let's just drop that music a little bit. There we go. It was a little bit too loud there. That's better. Working away. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I tell you what, it's going to be very strange not seeing you, your streams obviously this weekend, bro, but of course we're both going to be away, so hopefully for the interim I can obviously fulfill that little bit of gap there. In real life does come first. You're absolutely right, broski. I'll tell you what, I've been looking forward to it a very long time. For those out there, chat, I literally today was my last day of work in terms of I've had a holiday booked now for a long time. It finally happened. So, and me and Mr. BitDot are going to be going away over the weekend for my birthday celebrations. For those in Mr. BitDot's chat, of course, you will know him as Papa BitDot. But over here, in Big D's Brush land, he is known as Daddy D. We are off to Daddy D's Brush for the weekend there. Well, for a couple of days. So yes, no streets from Mr. BitDot, but I'm sure he's. I'm sure you're glad of the rest there, broski. Recharge your batteries, a bit of IRL. What could be better? In fact, we're gonna probably start getting into the old festive mood and watch a couple of Christmas movies. So that's gonna be quite cool. We'll watch all the favourites. So everybody, after that little bit of preamble there, welcome to the stream. This is BigDsBrush. I'm Big D, and I'm here to, well, essentially just sort of show you how I do things, really. Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. It has been on my, I have a feeling that the autofocus might be on the camera there, but never mind. Looking forward to the show. Yes, so, as the episode is called, this is, basically, cloaks and fur, basically done right. We are going to. So I'm not going to go into the whole streamer's journal thing tonight. I want to get straight into the hustle and bustle. But suffice to say, literally last time, all I said was I was going to make sure that. I had the mic turned on when I said hello, and I did, so that's worked out absolutely perfectly. I'm just going to... Okay, I can't really do anything there. Oh, there we go. There we go. That should be okay now. Hopefully it won't be too distracting. Yeah, so, last time on Dragon Ball Z, we basically got the, I painted up the gold armor, and I spent a while doing that. So this is what we got done last time. Oh, and the chainmail, of course. As you can see, the model has slightly progressed a little bit more since last then. I've gone in, I've painted the inside of the cloak here. I've gone in and painted the belt. Okay, and the little buckle there. This is just a basic base color and a few shades and highlights. Nothing. We will go in and do the finer details later. I haven't done this piece of armor here. I've just base coated and washed it for now. Again, all this will be determined after we've got the bits and pieces in place. So that way we can figure out where our shades and our highlights are going to be much more better. But yeah, so there we go. I brought him, and then I also, obviously behind the scenes, I started painting the shield. So again, oh, thank you, broski, thank you. So again, I basically looked. So we got the shield is painted blue, the armor's painted blue, gold armor. You know, the gold is obviously the design here is gold. This metal will be the same as this chainmail here. This has just been base coated and had a wash over it. So I did all the metallics first. I base coated all the dark metallics and then the dark gold. I washed them both, okay? And then I went back in and then basically I painted the mid to darkish blue in and around all the metal there. I still have a hand there to paint, of course, later on, which is obviously a dead hand. So that'll be interesting. I might get round to showing you how to paint like dead flesh. And also we've got a skull there, so that'd be quite cool to do, to like paint bone, which would be quite cool. I also did some a basic base coat on the helmet there. Okay, the horns aren't the main portion of the horns haven't got any colour on there yet. It's just that's the basic black. I want to do all the messy stuff first, so all the metallics, wash them, and then I'll highlight them at some point, and then after all that's done, I can then go in and paint the green-eyed big bad wolf. Hello there, thank you for joining the stream. I hope you're well on this I don't know, I suppose a bit of a cold Tuesday night. So there we go. So there's that, of course. So that, and then I did a little bit on the just the hand really. This sword will be quite a focal point for the model. So I don't really intend to. I really want to make that its own video, its own tutorial. We're going to make this a really cool red weapon, so that'd be really kind of cool, like an evil sword. So I quite like that. So today we are going to. I'm going to show you how to glue two halves of a model together. When we've done something like this, which is called a sub-assembly, okay? And then we're gonna, while we do that, we're gonna make sure that the joins are a really seamless join, especially between two bits of fur that have detail, okay? And then I'll basically paint over the seam with a black to blend it in, and then we'll paint the fur. And then we'll paint the cloak. I think that should make for a very good stream. Nothing too hard. As you can see, the cape has been painted, the inside of the cape, and I've gone for a sort of very muted greenish grey, essentially. Okay. But this still will need a little bit of shading done to it. Oh, thank you, Green Eye Big Bad Wolf. Thank you. It's coming on. It's getting on there. So yeah, the inside of the cloak's done. There's still some details here. There's still areas I haven't done yet. I'm really sorry about the autofocus. I didn't. I usually, it's normally all set, so it doesn't do that. But I think after so long, it just resets itself. But hopefully it shouldn't be too distracting as we get on. So let's do some. We'll do some assembly. So we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need some. So this is good. We're going to need some. Obviously, this is just doodah. Just take the price tag off there. There we go. That way you can see the name of the. This is the name of. This is the brand I use. It's called. I think it's like Max Bond, MX Bond. So you've got. So these two are the same. This is just a rebrand, but it's still the 412 formula. Okay, so these are both the same. And then this is a 601. So this is a runny, slightly more runny super glue. This stuff here, this is the thickest. This is the thicker stuff. This is gap filling. Okay, so we're going to be using this one. So what I have here, okay, this is a little gizmo that I made. This is the piece of like board, MDF board. It's basically the same stuff that I use to put underneath the model when I'm painting, so you can see it properly. I won't be using that today just because I want to make sure I've got the cutting mat and stuff visible. And on this side, this is just some greaseproof paper, and all I've done is I've put super glue on the MDF, pressed the greaseproof paper on top of it, and what this gives me is basically a non-absorbent surface, really cheap and easy, okay, to put drops of my super glue onto. That way it'll stay active, and I can just I'm going to use a paper clip and some pins just to do some to pick up very fine amounts, small amounts of super glue to dab on the joint there, just to make sure we don't go too crazy with it. Normally I'd have like a wooden cocktail stick or whatever, but I don't have one at hand, so all I'll be doing is just using probably a junk brush just to feather in the seams between the two things there. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I need to make sure that there is a actual bond between two pieces of material, two pieces of plastic. You don't want the glue. You don't want to bond basically like paint to paint. So if there's paint on the area where you put the glue will bond to the paint, not the plastic. So it'll just end up pulling away. So just in the area where, and don't forget, we'll go over this with paint just to make the transition seamless. Sorry. So as you can see there, I now have exposed that light grey plastic. Okay. And this bit's already done, so I'm not painting over this. And then on this bit, so I've just got them on a stand here. I'll just take it off. So this is the section that we're going to be gluing on, or it's already pretty much ready to accept the super glue. Now the main area, okay, the main area is the fur. Now the first thing I'm going to do, let's just take it off this this cap for now, because we're not actually painting the model, so I don't have to worry about obviously I put it on a stand just so I don't touch the model when I'm painting. In this case though, we're going to be using super glue, so it's not we're just going to be gluing on a just going to be gluing, so it's not really going to be an issue. So let's just, again, we'll just obviously check, double check. So there we go. So there's the two halves there. Okay. So we see there where some of the primer started to sort of just come away a little bit, where I've obviously it's just probably scraped a bit too much. So this is the seam that we need to join. Okay, and preferably we need a seamless transition. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue onto the piece that we're going to glue onto, because that will give us a bit more play for adjustment. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. Here's how it goes. We're going to take the thicker super glue. This is very important, because it needs to be, because this is going to be our gap. Essentially our gap filling material, and hopefully we shouldn't have to use any kind of putties or green stuff or anything like that. Okay, now I do normally I actually made a tool to that is essentially it's an old paint handle with the bristles were knackered, so I just cut them off, and I got a sewing pin, and I dabbed some super glue into the sewing pin. All this is removed, and you push it into the ferrule there, and that basically yeah, I can show how to make one of them at some point. I normally have it, but I just I can't find it. I must have misplaced it. So all I'm going to use instead, okay, all I'm going to use instead is a paper clip. All I'm going to use is a paper clip. Okay? So we're going to basically glue. So we need to just dab some glue. This is the main area though. So this is the main area, okay? So along the top and down there. This inside bit here, we don't have to worry too much about any kind of seam or anything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick some of the glue up on your paperclip and dab it. Dab. So this will basically we're going to make sure we're going to dab it basically in that area where the fur builds up. And dab. And then this bit here can just be normal. Okay, so we're just going to dab. Just dab. What we're trying to do is build up a thickness layer of super glue that we can press the two halves together and then basically create extra material. Okay, so there we go. Here's our half. Here's what we're going to bring it together. And there you go. You see, boom, boom. Can you now see that excess material that's spilling out, okay? So all we're going to do now is just pull paperclip down. And all we're doing is basically spreading out the excess material. And then here comes the trick. I'm just going to dab some more super glue over these bits of fur. But again, dab. Because what that will do is it will basically ensure that capillary action will take effect, okay? I'm going to run my finger down. Smooth it out. But keep it rough and ready at the top where the fur is. Keep it rough and ready. Dab it. Dab. And then just sort of back and forth against the fur. Because what that'll do is it'll let the super glue kind of blend in. We've got a little seam down the side here as well, okay? That's going to be, I just didn't really think about that at the time. That's okay, just fill the gap in. And all I've got to do is I can just paint over that, because super glue you can paint over anyway. So I'll just paint over that and just blend it in. And now here's the trick. You get ourselves some activator. This is just a spray version, like an actual spray. I'll show you. So it's got a little nozzle. It's like WD-40 basically, that kind of nozzle, and just spray. But gently, you don't need much. You can get one that's in like a mist. Improved song. Was that a bot there, broski? Was that a bot? Did we get a bot? They're everywhere, broski. The bots are everywhere. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this model away a second. Just give it another. Just going to give it a really good spray of the activator there. Okay. Now this you can still see there's a seam there. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to do another application of super glue just to help. And then what we'll do is when we paint over that gap. Did I want cheap viewers? That's so funny. It's so weird because obviously it's like bots are like blatantly against like TOS. So the fact they're like advertising something that's against TOS in publicly in broad daylight, it's just so fucking stupid. Oh, Mr. BitDot's on the case. He's had loads of practice from his streams there, won't you, broski? In his streams, bless him, there's always like some. Well, it's more so. It was the green site though, wasn't it? More so, really, but the green site's been removed now from the artillery now. So, but my God, I was on the green site. I was banning, ban, 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 ban. Bot after bot after bot after bot. I'm just gonna grab a cheap paintbrush. So this here, I've got plenty of paintbrushes. So this, was it recyclable type drinking cup type thing? Has like loads of. These are like cheap brushes. Obviously a ruler in there. Just anything that might be useful. Okay. So these are just like cheap brushes that I just get from art shops, pound shops, charity shops, not charity shops, discount shops, okay? So I was going to find myself a, that will do. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to now use some of the runny super glue. I do appreciate that, broski, thank you. As you can see, this super glue is much more runny. Okay. Now, when I've basically used this brush to do what I'm going to do, the brush will be essentially knackered then for the rest of the till the end of the time. But all I'll simply do is I'll just use the knackered brush then to make a new gizmo. Stephus! Hello, my friend. How's it going, brother? Let's see some love in the chat. Let's see some love in the chat. Okay, let's blend that in. Oh, this brush is absolutely sideways now. What I'm going to do is just blend it in. Oh! Bless you, mate. The sound off. Okay, no worries, pal. I'll just, I'll send you some, there we go, big love. There we go. It's always a pleasure to have you in the chat, Steffu. Oh, bless you. Doing good. Work is great. Oh, man. I'm so glad now that I'm done now for about 9 days. Oh, Steffu is absolute grinder. Thank you, Steffu. I'm not sure if you was here from the. I'll get you caught up, pal. So I'll just show it at the start. So obviously, when we last left off, last time on Dragon Ball Z, so I did the armor, the gold and then the silver, and then I basically blocked everything else in black at the very end. I blacked out everything else just ready. So I've gone in since then, Stefu. I've painted the brown there on the belt, but it's just a slight shade, a little highlight. But we'll highlight that properly later on once we know where everything is in correlation with each other in the model. I've just put some silver and some gold down on these little brooches here, these emblems, okay? And I've just gone in there with a little bit of colour there. Okay, and then just I did some base coats on the outside of the shield there. So the silver, the gold, and the blue shield, just basic base coats there, and a wash. And we just got a few little details to paint later on. We can highlight all that on its own, and then that'll be ready to be attached to this guy. So let's see. So, as you can see, we've got a very shiny little area there, where that line has gone all the way down there, around there. You're going, well, you can clearly see it, but what you can sort is that you can see the gloss, you can see the shine, the sheen. That's the super glue. So what you're seeing really is the line through the super glue, because it's obviously transparent or translucent. So what I might need to do though is maybe just dab. That should be okay. I think that should be fine. So let's we can always rectify there any little mistakes if need be. If I haven't put enough super glue in, then we can easily just go in there with a little bit more afterwards. Stefu, sorry man. Everyone is feeling good, some sickness, but just a cold. Oh, it's. Oh, we definitely need a what do you call it? A mod meeting for yours, broski. Obviously, with stuff going forward. Stefan, man, I hope you're. I hope everyone's well. I say it's just the. As I say, that tis the season. Tis the season. Thanks, Steffi. Thanks for the. So the proof is in the pudding. So let's just paint over this. Seam now with the black there. Hopefully I've done a good job. Oh, thank you, broski. I would say you can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done. Well, I can't wait to see what comes out of. I can't wait to see what comes out of BitDsBrush Productions. Especially going into 2026 there, broski. I think you're going to be going places. I really do. I think you're going to be leaps and bounds. I think you're in for some really good things. Some really good things. So let's just let that paint dry on that cloak there for a second. So I'll put him in shot, and I might lay him down that way so we can sort of look at something while we let's just get caught up a little bit. So we have Mr. BitDot in chat, broski. Of course, you're always there. I've got you in for another 24 minutes or so. Is Green Eye Big Bad Wolf still in chat there? Hello, Green Eyed. You've been here from the start, bless you. I really do appreciate the follow and the support. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the support you've given me, broski, since I started doing this. Obviously, you have to kick me up the backside there to get me what do you call it? To get me in gear. But if I can be, you know, half as far as you are now, broski, this time next year, then I wouldn't have done too bad. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully, so we shall see. We shall see. Just letting that paint dry there. So I may just need to go over that again with a little bit more super glue. So Green Eye, what are you up to there? What are you up to? Yes, yeah. I think streaming has definitely sort of reignited my passion and enthusiasm for the hobby. Absolutely. I mean, I've always, it's, you know, we never, obviously, you know, anything that I think anything you enjoy, anything you love to do, anything that you know, I don't think it ever truly it never leaves you. It's just you kind of tend to either put it on the back burner or it just kind of, don't know, takes sort of second fiddle to, you know, other things or whatever. Or yeah, I think it's always, I think it's absolutely, it's always a good thing to have, you know, a direction. I think when it comes, because I think sometimes it's good. It's a healthy thing. But you know, I like hobbies. I like doing. I mean, all hobbies are good. You know, everyone needs hobbies. Actually, in fact, I was actually thinking about just stuff in general, like when it comes to streaming. I don't know how you feel about broski, you know, when you see, I think there's a really weird like a strange phenomena with some people where for whatever reason they seem to expect like they're gonna be like, you know, the most popular streamer in the world, or they're gonna get like 5,000 viewers and weird stuff like that. It's just kind of like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I've only been, you know, they seem to be surprised. I think, you know, it's like, oh, I've only been streaming a week. They'll be like, I've been streaming a week and I've only got, you know, like 10 viewers in chat or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a snowball. It's slow. It's like a train. It builds up steam. It leaves the, you know, it's leaving the as it leaves the station. It builds up steam, builds up momentum. You know, you have to work at it as well. You have to work at it. You can't just expect, you know, just viewers and attention and I don't know. It's just very, I think if you, yeah, oh, 100% broski. You have to have fun. I think that's the problem. No, yeah, 100%. And I think also I think your intentions have to be pure. I think that's the same with anything though. But your intentions have to be pure. Like you have to. You can't just start doing something because you think you're going to get something out of it. Like you owed some kind of like, you know, reward or some kind of compensation, or you know, like I'm owed this. Like I'm, you know, it's very strange. It's just very, very strange. I do sometimes get really kind of annoyed with like just stuff. I don't know if you ever notice as Broski or not. I don't know. Maybe you, Green Eye, as well. Like I don't know how much he obviously spent. I mean, I know Broski's obviously like, you know, he's familiar with YouTube and channels and things like that. But it's just like they always end up doing these. You know, the that's it. I've had enough. You know, I quit. You know, blah 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 type videos. You know what I mean? Because in their head, they're not getting the recognition and the numbers and the thingies. I've just seen there's just some at the minute. There seems to be like this huge like. I'm not just talking. Obviously, I'm not talking specifically about. Yeah, a sense of entitlement. And it's quite weird, and I think some of it's like just weird. I think people want. You know, they think it's basically their, you know, the golden goose, you know. They think it's the you know, it's basically their ticket to Easy Street, you know. All I've got to do is X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to start. It's just, no, it's very strange. And I noticed at the minute on YouTube, there's a lot of content creators having this like huge meltdown over like supposedly like quote unquote like a drop in like revenue and stuff for their like channels, but without being sort of funny about it, like you see the kind of content that they're doing, and it's just stuff that's like, yeah, it's just stuff that's just no one's interested. For instance, like political crap, yeah, and I'm just that doesn't interest me at all. I think I would dare say like a high percentage of people on YouTube don't care about that shit. They're not interested in that kind of stuff. And when you got these political grifters or whatever, you know, commentators, etc., whether it's on the right or whether it's on the left, wherever they are, or if they're like down the middle and they're giving these like really like safe, you know, milquetoast, middle of the road opinions on stuff, it's like, yeah, I think just it's weird. Like I always think like I just see all these people like just losing their minds over it, and it's strange. And then obviously in my hobby, in my side of things, my neck of the woods, in terms of like miniatures and wargaming and stuff like that, you know, there's loads of new prospering, you know, channels, and you know, there's streamers out there that I've sort of obviously I've been sort of keeping an eye on things and seeing what's what and who's about and who's new, and you know, you got people literally like streaming to like, you know, just one person or whatever, but they're doing it because it's like they're doing the thing in the first place. Like they're already going to be painting this model, so why not just throw the camera on and maybe just talk and discuss some stuff. Someone might pop in or whatever. But it's these people that start these channels, and they get really butthurt over like not having like, I don't know, I think they expect like instant like monetization. It's bloody weird. It's very strange. And then they're kind of like, oh, it's not what I thought it'd be, blah blah blah, I'm quitting, I'm leaving. And then they quit the channel, but then they come back again later on, and it's just very bloody, yeah, it's just very kind of like, very weird. I mean, for me, like my thing was, I just didn't think people would probably care about what I had to say about models and painting and stuff like that. It wasn't because I was interested in the monetization of it all or the thing of it. It's just like, do I actually have something that's valuable and worthwhile, you know, to say? And that was kind of like my main issue, really. Obviously, I had like nerves to begin with as well. Like when I first started again, I had nerves. I'm just putting some more super glue down. I just noticed the black paint has dried now, but I still notice there's like a tiny little, there's a tiny little recess still. So I'm just going to fill that recess in. I'm going to dab the super glue here and there on the fur, and then I'll just bring the paint, the super glue down the middle. Yeah, so that was my thing really. Just like, are people going to actually give a crap about Okay, there we go. What I have to say, yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I remembered the mic this time. It was perfect. It was a perfect start. If you ever go back and, yeah. Mr. BitDot was actually like, he was like, it was almost like that bit out of bloody, out of Bottom Live, broski. You know, when they keep getting the lines wrong all the time, and then Richie finally gets the, Ritmel finally gets a, you know, gets the line out. You know, and Eddie's like, fucking hell, a line from the play. That's what it's like. That was basically BitDot's reaction. So he's like, bloody hell, you know, finally, you know. So yes, we had a flawless victory, a flawless execution of the opening segment. Although I did cock up a little bit, but that's not too bad. It was just the little surprise I had for the end kicked in a little bit, but it didn't matter too much. I don't think anyone really noticed. Okay, where's that spray? Well, you missed the perfect opening. Well, you can go back and watch the replay when the stream is done. You can watch watch it again at your leisure. So as you can see there, I've just gone back down again with the super glue there. That's the shiny segment there. But again, the capillary reaction is basically just pulling that into the seams anyway. We are 10 minutes just about to the top of the hour, so unfortunately we will be losing Mr. BitDot in 10 minutes time. So let's see if we can actually get this this bit here actually finally just gonna grab a little bit more of this this is just a normal black paint here. This is the Privateer Press Formula P3. This is actually the older stuff, yeah, the older style, the older recipes and stuff. This is the newer style now. Dropper bottles, slightly new recipe as well. Really good, really good paints. My absolute favorite paints. Sadly, I wish we will have to at some point make sure that at least one time that I do or am able to do a stream where you are able to be there for the duration there, broski. We'll sort something out, hopefully. Okay, I'm just going to blend this paint in here just to the... One thing you'll notice is that there is actually a different finish to the actual paint out of the paint pot, and then the paint from the spray can there. Okay. That's pretty much sealed. That's pretty much closed that seam now. And there's still an ever so, but there is actually a fold in the cape anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. See there, there's a. I've obviously joined the seam there, so I'll be going over that with some of the dark blue, the dark blue paint later on, and then I'll just hit it here and there with a little highlight of lighter blue. And normally what I would probably do, if this was a, I would actually take my hobby knife, and where we feel, I would just take the knife and scrape back, okay, scrape back to make it a smooth, which we'll probably do now, look. And you're probably going to go, oh no, what's he doing? But don't worry. Just going to do it on that smooth, just to smooth it out. I could have got away without doing this, but there was a niggling voice in my head that was telling me to smooth that out with a knife. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna grab a, this is a size 8 filbert brush. I'm not gonna, obviously, I'm not doing any painting with this. I'm not gonna do is just use it to that's better. Just remove the debris there. It's the little bit of detritus from the gap there that I've just from the join there. So this here obviously needs to be I do have some brush on white primer that I can actually apply to that model there, just on those little areas, and paint the rest over that black. But we'll see for a second. Oh, broski! Thank you very much for being here for the first hour as always, broski. You already you earned your title of moderator in spades already by banning that the bot faster than lightning. Thank you, broski. Get a good night's sleep, and I will see you tomorrow. Let's see if I can get this well, that'll do just as well. Night, broski. So apart from watching me, Green Eye, what are you up to? No, you can mention what you're watching. You can talk about programs and things. It's absolutely fine. Is that the what, the Red Dwarf episode? Or is it something completely different? Yeah, Red Dwarf. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought that's the one I guess I always think of whenever I see the. Was it our Robber Ross? Or Robos. Maroon. Was that the episode you're watching? The maroon one. Isn't that like that's early Red Dwarf, isn't it? Is that like series 3, series 4, something like that? I think. Just gonna pull the music back a little bit there. There we go. Yeah, series 3. I knew it was like quite early on. Yeah, that's what it is. He, yeah, because Rimmer tells Lister to like burn his guitar, and then Lister draws around the wooden box or wooden chest that one of Rimmer's valuable possessions, isn't it? I think he like draws a guitar shape out of it and then lobs that on the fire instead. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I thought so. I watched that one oh god, ages ago. Ages ago. So funny. So funny. I'm always like, I always like, I kind of like comedy shows where they do that kind of thing where they have like the, you know, what they call like the two-hander, you know, the two, basically like we're just two. Oh, bless you, thank you. My stream is comfort. You know what? That's what I kind of want. That's the undefined. No, hello. What I was going to say, I hope you're okay, my friend. What I was going to say was, I do like especially like the British stuff, you know. I'm a big British comedy sitcom guy anyway. I always like the episodes where it's just usually like confined, you know, two characters. So obviously Bottom being a very prominent one. You know, I think the majority of the best episodes that they did were the ones where it was just them. You know, I can think of the one where they're trapped on the Ferris wheel, just literally just them on the Ferris wheel for like, you know, half an hour or whatever. It's just excellent stuff. So yeah, the episode where it was just for the majority was Lister and Rimmer was just really cool. Oh, 100%, I agree with that. I probably, for me, obviously, I'm an old man. I'm an old man. So, I obviously a little bit of 80s for me as well. Some 80s in there, 80s and 90s. That's basically where my sweet spot is in terms of like viewing. 100%. Undefined, no, I'm doing all right, lad. I'm good, thank you, my friend. I have literally completed my last shift at work for a good 9 days now. Got 9 days off, so now it's just I get to kick back and relax for a while there, and just what do you call it? So there we go. Look, there's the. It's not perfect. It's not 100% perfect, but that seam has now been pretty much blended in there. So that looks really cool. So we'll let that dry. I'm going to stick it back on the. I might stick him on this. This handle here. Actually, I'll give this handle a go. Yeah. I've been looking forward to the find now. I say, obviously, if you was obviously in my Mr. Bit streams there. Obviously, he's obviously not going to be streaming over the weekend, but that's because we're going to be going away to as well as my broski calls him, Papa Bit but over here in BigDsBrush in the BigDsBrush streams, he's called Daddy D, old Daddy D. So we're going to be going there for the weekend and just having obviously a good chill time and get up to all sorts of mischief or whatever for my birthday. I think we decided we're going to watch a couple of Christmas movies. I think just to get us in the mood. We like watching the odd Christmas movie together and stuff. So it's gonna be really cool. Speaking of which, even though I know we're only like in the 2nd of December, but are there B-Day of 100 basically. So my birthday's is on the Sunday, but obviously we're making a bit of, I'm sort of like kind of treating like Friday, Saturday and Sunday kind of more or less really. So I'm gonna start painting the fur in a second, but I was gonna be putting down some base coats. So while I'm doing that, well, no, obviously like what do you call it? Obviously my birthday will be, but what do you call it? Obviously, because I'll be at my dad's. Obviously, I want to have a little bit of birthday time with obviously some other people as well. My mum. I mean, Sunday really it's just gonna be. I just want to kind of want a chilled one on Sunday. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna just using some dark brown here. This is like a really nice, rich dark brown. This is just for the base coat of the cloak there, the fur. And I'm just using the well palette here, just because there's no point breaking out the the wet palette just for some base coating. So yeah, model, yeah, but I've what you call it. So it's obviously progressed further since last then undefined. So I've during the break between the last stream and today, I've gone in. I've done the belt. I did these little bits here, just base coated them, and a little highlight, little shade. Oh, okay. Well, it's still on the. It's not. I mean, it's not really much to thingy. I mean, if you go on my on the YouTube there, undefined, they're all on there. They're all archived on there. You can just go to episode 2 or whatever, and then just sort of skip along as I do the gold. So at the minute, I'm just gonna sort of basically paint in the dark brown for the fur here as the base coat. Just so I want to start blending in the I want to blend in the pieces now in terms of colour. So I've got the model out of camera there. You can't really see. Oh, thank you very much. So once we get the we're gonna do some really cool stuff with the coat, the cloak, and that. Oh, I've just gone a little bit over there. That's okay though, the paint's still wet. Get a brush that's wet, go in there and just run the brush over. The great thing is that it's this colour here, this paint, this brown, is umbral umber, which basically it's a really nice rich brown colour, and it actually... Yeah, no worries, Undefined. No, I just appreciate you being here, bud. I understand that you have to lurk, or you know, you got other things to do. Hopefully, a little bit of I'm a little bit of background noise for you or whatever. But yeah, this umbral umber, if it goes on the brown, sorry, if it goes on the brown, if it goes on the blue, if you're quick enough, you can just like use a brush, a wet brush, just to sort of like clean it away. And even if you don't, if you sort of like try and get it into the recesses, umbral umber actually is a really good shade color for blue. Obviously you want to be on the darker spectrum there, the darker side of dark blue, not like a light, you know, really light blue or whatever. It won't really work very well. So what I'm going for here is I ideally want a brown that has some warmth. Yeah, still dabbing, but I'm just dabbing the brown on now. The doodah's done now. That seal there is done on the cloak there. I want a brown that has some warmth to it underneath, so in the undertones, but then some cooler, slightly muted tones on top. And the reason being is, so this blue is a cold color, this cape here is going to be like a dark red into a light red, and obviously red is quite a warm color. Oh, sorry, red is still quite a warm color. Sorry, red is a warm color. So if I have too much red, so if I did this brown, this fur, if I put this fur into the reddish brown spectrum, then it would clash with the red of the actual material of the cloth of the cloak. It'd be too red. So by having a warmish undertone, by using that umbral umber, okay, when I go in with my lighter browns, which is these, I'm using these ones here, these kind of like muted brown colors here. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Oh, that's better. I'm boring myself to sleep. No, what do you call it? It'll work really well, because originally I was going to play around with the idea of using reddish browns, okay, for the cloak, reddish browns. But like I said before, it'll be just too much red, like way too much red. Now, even though this shield, okay, when this shield is fully painted, it will go on the back here, okay? So it'll go kind of like here in perspective. It'll go about there on the back. So what we will see is these edges, the shield's going to be about here. So we'll see this edge of the cloak here, here, and here. And then obviously like just some of the thingy areas. But so the red and the blue will obviously play off each other. And then the brown and the blue obviously will sort of, but then the brown here has to play off against the blue of the armor and then the red of the cloak. Okay, so it's very important not to basically overdo it. Oh god. So how are we chat? Oh dear. Yeah, sorry, but I'll keep it in bloody shot next time. In fact, are you doing the group Iron Man Undefined now? Ah, that's really cool. The head. Oh, 1 second. So I've already done it. I've put a base coat and a wash over the head so far. So it's a helmet. Okay, I've done it I've done it in the same. So it's going to be the same gold eventually as this, but I'm just, because it's a smaller area. Okay, the contrast has to be much more sharper. Okay, much more. So the blends aren't going to be as smooth because it needs to really pop out. So as you can see, the shading is already done. Okay, and all I did for the shading was I used a mixture of brown and purple wash. So I grabbed these two here. These are obviously ready formulated washes here. So I got the Agrak Surfshade, which is obviously a brown. I got the Druchii Violet, and I basically just started with like I think it was like a 2-to-1, and then added a bit more purple in the deeper recesses, just to have that kind of the contrast there against the gold. So, and then I'll just go in there with I'll go in there with a highlight of the blighted gold, and then we'll go in with a highlight of old gold, and then literally an edge highlight with steel. So that'll look really good. There's also on the it's also on the horns as well. It's also on the horns here. So again, those the very tips and that little emblem, they'll be all nicely painted up. And then the horns themselves, once all the gold is done, I can go in there and I can paint the horns whatever colour I want to do them. I'm probably going to go for, I'm either going to do one or two things. I'll either go for a bone colour, or I might go for a red. But the reason why is because the sword is going to be red. So the sword is going to come, arm is going to come down here. So this will be painted red, and the sword arm will come down here, join there. So that'll be red there, and so there's going to be a red. So red, red, and red. But there'll be different tones of red. So there won't just be the same red recipe. So for instance, the sword I'm going to do in a really kind of cool magical blade style, like a enchanted blade or whatever. The cloak is going to be, you'll see yourself, is going to be very dark red, a mid-tone red, and then this is going to be the highlight on the edges basically. So it's going to be very, and then probably with a deep shade of this whole red, because they are slightly different. This has a bit more bit of a, this is actually, it looks lighter here, but it's just because of the way it hasn't been shaken up. But it's much darker. It's more like much more brown. This is much more red. So that'll be the plan for the cape there. So when all that's done, I can highlight all this here, and then I'll be able to finally, once the head's painted up, drop a super glue in there, and then the head will pop right in, and then we'll have a minute or two just to make sure the head's facing the right way there. Oh. After all that talking, I need a nice beverage. Oh, Oh, that's good. That's good. So actually, also you'll see here, like there's like a sort of like 2 layers to the cloth here, to the cloak. I might just paint all that as one colour. I'll paint all that as one colour. I can always come back to it later and change that if I need to. So yeah, so you got fur, and that's obviously like the skin there. This is just actual cloth. So that's fur, flesh, and then actual cloth. It isn't actually, you know, the whole cloak itself isn't like a you know, like a skin or anything like that. It's just a normal. Obviously, the hide, the beast hide, the animal hide. I'm going to give it another coat of this round. Oh, because all I'm going to do anyway is just I'll add my highlight colour into. So what I'm using here is just these this mixing well here. That these actually came with the wet palette I bought ages ago. They're magnetized on, and then they're basically their main use is either for metallic colors or for inks and washes and things like that. You can just put your brush into your ink there, put a couple of drops of ink into your well, add a bit of water or whatever to it, and maybe add a bit of actual paint to it to increase the pigmentation, and then you can just keep it there and it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna add in a bit more. Sorry, not add a bit more. I'm just gonna do another layer, paint another layer of umber, and you can't see a damn thing. There we go. I think I need to probably mark out. Maybe I need to mark out on here somewhere where I need to make sure the model is. And actually, that's a good question, actually, Green-Eyed Big Bad Wolf. How long does it take me to... Do you know what? I don't really know, because it can vary. I mean, I'm obviously, like, sort of treating this almost as if it's like a in-depth tutorial, like, masterclass, quote-unquote masterclass style tutorial. I mean, like I said, I've built the model in sub-assemblies, so when you build something in sub-assemblies, that's always going to take you much longer to paint than it normally would do. But I mean, at times I've had you know, like a big burst, a big like fit of just oomph, you know, enthusiasm or whatever, and I've literally sat at the bench or whatever, and what do you call it? Just banged out like a load of models, because I just kind of in my head I kind of go, right, I know what I'm after. I know what I want to do. I know the effect that I'm after. And once your colours are chosen, and that is kind of your hardest part, really, is choosing the colours, choosing your scheme. Once you know that, the rest is kind of easy, because then you're just basically following a certain set of principles, which will come hand in hand with what your chosen colours are. You know, so once you picked your main primary color, then you pick your secondary color, and you'll pick your secondary color based off of the color wheel. In fact, do I have? Okay, here we go. Just while that's drying, I'll give you an example. Okay, so this is a color wheel. This is actually a paint chart and a color wheel that came with the Two Thin Coats paint line. I got this in a Kickstarter a couple of years ago. I got the entire. At the time there was 3 waves, 3 paint. I know there was. I think there was. Was it 30 paints in each one or 60? I can't remember if it was 60 or whatever. Might have been 60 paints in each one. I can't remember. But so I ended up getting the whole lot. So I think I ended up with like 60. No, it would have been 30, 60, 90. I think about that. Whatever. I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry. So this is a. This is the color wheel. Okay. This is the color wheel that goes with this brand of paint here. So this is Two Thin Coats. Okay, this is by Duncan Rhodes, of course, is a very big influence on a lot of painters, to this very day. He started off on the Warhammer, the official Warhammer YouTube, YouTube page, and he was doing painting tutorials, and he just shot to popularity, like one of the big, huge proponents, I suppose, boost of actual, sort of turning community support and enthusiasm around in the hobby. He eventually left Games Workshop and went to start his own website, and then eventually, not long after, he created his own line of paints, starting with his first wave of paints. And then a wave 2, then a wave 3, and now he did a wave 4, which was a smaller wave, which was like dark style, grim dark style paints. So you have a whole paint. This upside down, sorry. So you have the whole paint chart there. That's the full list of colours that he does. That's available. And then what you would do is, you get a colour wheel just like this, and this is essentially, a standard colour wheel, and most paint ranges will have one for their own paint range, and not just miniature paints, but craft paints and house paints and things like that. They'll have this because so this is great. So this actually, so all you then do. Okay, so if you're going so you can find the opposite colour, okay, to the colour you pick. So you pick your main colour, and then you just go across, and you'll find, so obviously this one and this one, this one and this one, okay, these will be the direct opposites. And then from that you have the tertiary colours as well. Okay, so that's your color. That's your colors. You basically, it usually tends to be like the rule of 3. So you have primary color, secondary color, the tertiary color, which is your third color, and then you'll also use neutral colors as well on the model. So blacks, dark browns, that kind of thing for leather, for boots, for things like that, for fur, and that will help neutralize. I've used this before, is like to neutralize the model. So like I said before, in the instance of, say, when I painted, you painted something like a really bright blue with like yellow trim, then you want to make sure that you're using, and then you'll give that model, like, say, red eyes or red lenses, or something else on that model would be red. That'd be your primary, secondary color, and your tertiary color. But then you would also use like a dark brown or black or whatever as your neutral grounding color, as your neutralizing color for the rest of the model. So pouches, accessories, little bits and pieces like that, just to help tone down it. So it's not all a big, bright, vivid mess, because it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So this is why, obviously, with this, they've got bright blue armor, but the armor's still quite toned down. I went over it with a couple of dark washes and so on and so forth. But the inside of the cape is still relatively dark. The silver is relatively dark. The brown is relatively dark. So the fur is going to be relatively dark. This red it's still going to be relatively dark. It's not going to be as bright, you know, it won't be the armor is going to be the armor and the gold are probably going to be the brightest things on the model. So let's just while we're at it, to be fair, let's base coat the red. So for my base coat for the red, I'm going to use a combination of, so this is Sanguine base and this is Mephiston red. So what this basically is a red and then like a really darker red. This is a set more like a purple really. All it will do is just help basically knock back the it will help just not, I mean that red is, it's not a very bright red, say compared to there we go, so that's a very, very intense red. That's quite a muted, that's more in the orange spectrum, that's more and the sort of more, you know, that's more towards the reds, this is towards the browns sort of thing, and then this is obviously going towards the oranges. So you kind of got really you kind of got like, you know, brown, red, orange. This is why this is going to be our brightest highlight, because it's going to be just on those, on the very, very extremities of the cape. Yeah, the color wheels are just, I'd say, just the color wheels are always used. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have like, again, you don't need to have a color wheel that's like, say, the brand of the paints that you use, but it can be really useful, and it will help cut down a little bit of your thinking time. But you can easily get away with a basic color wheel, basic color theory, and then go from there. Because from that you will learn primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors. You'll learn, you know, like your pastels. You'll learn like muted, you know, desaturated colors, saturated colors, things like that. How to, like, you know, temperatures as well is really important to like understand, like warm colors and cold colors. Are really important to, because obviously you need to also you need to balance the model in terms of temperature as well. So you need to still have some. So if you say for the you know, you've got a model and you're setting it in the cold, obviously you're going to be using things like so this is a nice color here. This is wolf gray. Okay, so you would be adding, say, maybe this to your blacks or whatever, to your dark grays, to your blacks, maybe even to your blues. It depends, and that will shift the hue towards the white and grey, which will then make it look much more colder. But with that, you would need to paint something on the model that has a little bit of warmth to it. So in some cases, you could, if you're painting, say, a human, then maybe you would paint the skin to still have warmth feel to it. So you have like quite a reddish undertone to the skin, or maybe they've got some kind of fur they're wearing, which could be quite a warm brown color, or they could have I don't know, just something on them, like a little accessory on them, a little trinket or a weapon, piece of armor, something like that you want to just help just give a little bit of warmth to the model, to help, again, just harmonize the model as a whole. If you just painted the whole thing entirely in like cold tones, and there'd be no contrast, and contrast is what's mostly important when it comes to painting models. I'm just going to grab my size 2 brush. Oh, get a bit clumsy. There we go. Size 2 brush. Just going to put some of that in there. This is one of the reasons I quite like these old school style pots, is I quite like just being able to reach in, you know, I just grab a bit of paint here and there, just add it in, go back and forth, Add a bit of water, grab a bit of water, add some water to it. Maybe just gonna tone it down just a little bit more. A bit more maybe. Okay, there we go. And then we just sort of go in there with this colour. Again, just a bit more, maybe a little bit more water. Just a little bit of water. This is just a yeah. Just I caught the dude on and I knocked it over. Okay, so let's just you'll see this red is quite on the muted side. What I'll do is I didn't want to like just go with the pure sanguine base. That'd be way too dark. I don't want it to be too dark. At the same time, I didn't want it to be like just an absolute bright red. It just wouldn't work. It'd be too overpowering, too overbearing. The blue's already quite bright. I'm not going to be just in case anyone's interested. I am not going to be dry brushing the fur on this model. It would be a lot quicker to maybe dry brush it, but I want to do a little bit of well, it's basically a little bit of wet brushing, over brushing. It's probably called as well. Dry brushing is good for, it's good, quick and easy technique to use for fur and things like that, but I think it can be just leave it a bit too chalky. And I want to go for like some nice blends on this model. So all I'm doing here, just make sure you get the paint all inside, because I'm going to be shading that. I need to still have that base red in that hole there, so I can shade that down, and it will make the shading of that area more natural. I am going to be using some two brush blending on the cape anyway, on the cloak, shall I say, for the shading. It's one of my favourite techniques to do, to be fair. A little bit of two brush blending. When you base cut, I'll be teaching this anyway, because I will be doing a more or less an entire start to finish on the new Marauder models when I actually have them in my possession, which won't be till next week, unfortunately. I mean, they're released on the 6th there, and but I just won't be here to be able to open them. So, but they will be here. They will be in the house, waiting my return to have a really good look at them. I'm really looking forward to opening the box and getting to see what the models look like in person, how they go together, what options I have, how many heads, how many different arms, different weapons, like any spare bits and pieces, any spare weapons or spare heads, and then we're laughing in terms of doing future tutorials there. Oh, just got to make sure I get that little bit there. So, but what I was going to say was when you base coat, make sure you only go over the area once. Keep the brush moving, okay? on your base coat, keep the brush moving in terms of like don't dwell in the same area, because all you're going to do is lift the paint off the area. Okay, if all I did was just keep going over and over and over and over and over that same area, all I'm going to be doing is just removing the paint and putting paint back down. That's it. You have to wait for this paint to fully dry and then give it a second layer. And the great thing is, of course, that first layer that we put down. Oh, look at that. I've messed up big time, big time. Oh, what a mess. Look at that. Look, we're gonna. Luckily, the paint's still wet. My brush is still wet. I can just go in there and I can remove that little bit of red that overspilled there. That's okay. You can always go back in and just re-highlight all that stuff anyway. We can do it afterwards. That's not a big deal. You will make mistakes, but of course, as Bob Ross used to say, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. Well, who am I to disagree? But yeah, just keep the brush moving. Don't dwell. And you can do as many layers as it takes to get a solid colour. It won't take one coat. And also there's a saying, you know, 2 thin coats, which is obviously the brand name for these for those paints there. The Duncan Rhodes one. In fact, that's actually his. It's almost like his signature saying, really, is the 2 thin coats. But doesn't always take 2 thin coats. Sometimes it might take 3. Sometimes it might take 4. It all depends. No, I've not used the same size brush. I tend to use. So on larger areas, obviously, you always want to use the largest brush. Size brush you can that you're comfortable with. When it comes to, and then I kind of talked about this a little bit before, but it's not the size of the brush. Okay, so I'll just try it. The tip, the point, the very tip, the very tip of the brush, for the most part, on really well made paintbrushes anyway, is that tip. Is the same. That tip is the same on all brushes. Okay, the tip there. Obviously, this one's started to fray because I've used it for base coating and so on and so forth. It's obviously had a bit of rough punishment over time, but they all have the same point. My Winsor & Newton brushes that I have, they all, whether it's a size 2, a size 1, size 0, 00, 000, all the points on those brushes are exactly the same. The only difference, obviously, in the size of the brush is how much paint the brush holds. Okay. So a brush like this, the size 2, will hold quite a lot of paint. So I'll probably be able to carry on base coating the rest of this cloak here with what's left on this brush, without having to dip back into it so quickly. Now, if I was using a size 0, size 00, I'd be running out of paint much quicker, much sooner. Okay. So on finer areas, finer details, I will switch to, you know, a size 0, a size 00, And then in some cases, if I'm doing like eyes, which I haven't done, last time I did eyes was on some other models ages ago. Then I'll probably switch to 000, because then you're only basically loading up your brush with the tiniest amount of paint that you can hold anyway, and the point there is obviously guaranteed, because you don't use it for heavy duty work, like heavy duty base coating like I do with this one, this size 2. This is basically like my kind of like all-rounder. So this will basically base coat. I'll use it to base coat this cloak, and I used a cat tongue brush to base coat the fur. And the reason why I used the cat tongue brush is because it's just, I don't have to worry about damaging the bristles. All I used for that was a not that one. This one here. This is actually a Winsor Newton watercolor sable. Okay, these are not Kolinsky sable. Okay, this is watercolor sable brushes. It's a very small, fine cat's tongue brush, which is basically a much finer version of, let's say, this one. Okay, so this is a size 4 filbert, size 4, and I think this is like a 3mm, so 1/8 of an inch or something like that, I think it is, in terms of thingies, but 3mm. So look at the 3mm there compared to Doodah. So I'll actually use this one just because this one here, it just gives me a little bit more control, especially in you know, an area maybe let's say quite close to existing painted areas of the model. So what I might do now is I might just wash the what do you call it? What am I trying to say? What are you trying to say, Daniel? I might wash the fur with a brown wash or whatever, dark brown wash or whatever. So there we go. Like I said, switched brush there. Look, see, to a size 0. That's because I've got this area here. I want to be very, very careful. Can you imagine? Can you imagine me trying to base coat the entire model with a 0? Oh, I'll be there. Oh, I'll be there all day. So I made the decision, obviously, just to so on the inside of the cloak, obviously we have that dark grey, which, okay, I was already thinking ahead. I used a muted green grey colour. Okay, now complementary colour of green is red. Okay. So a muted red, muted green. Because you're going to have red exposed here and the muted green exposed here. So you have these two areas are going to be in the same, you know, same focal point, same eye. What you call it? Like, so the model. So imagine this model is obviously vertical, yeah, it's straight. But obviously for the purposes of this demonstration, it's laid obviously on its back because that's where how the camera is positioned, right? So if you're looking dead on the model, you can see the red cloak and the green inside as well, and it works really well. But the red also works really well with blue, and then the green can really work well with blue because obviously red and blue are green. and then of course the gold has a little bit of yellow. It all kind of, it doesn't look jarring, okay? It doesn't look jarring. It's fine. So I'm just going to make sure. Just to make sure. I want the top edges of this cloak to be in the red, okay? So the top edges of the cloak are to be this red colour, and that even includes the underside as well. I don't know if you can see it very well or not. That's just nice and simple. Just drag the brush across the underside. Okay. Okay, so are you still watching Red Dwarf there, Green Eye? Okay, that's more than thinking enough. So as you can see, that scene there, it's not perfect. I probably could have done a much better job, but it's not bad considering. And by the time we've got layers of paint on there, and the camera's kind of picking it up, but to the naked eye, you can't really see it that very well. Once more layers of paint over the top of that, it'll just disappear. So I'm just going to may as well just mix up a bit more. And a bit of the Mephiston red there. Let's add a bit of water. Give it a good stir. So that's close enough. Close enough. I have a philosophy which is close enough is good enough. If I didn't mix, and obviously normally you mix a big batch of the colour, okay, and you make sure you add enough to basically do your several layers. I might just add a bit more. Okay. Yeah, just add the several layers there, but it doesn't matter too. Again, we're going to go over this with. We're going to put in some shade colours. We're going to highlight. This is only a base colour. This is your mid-tone. I mean, I'm going to more or less cover over all of this with Mephiston red eventually. It's on in the background. That's pretty cool. It's always good to have. I like having things on in the background. Usually when I obviously paint, when I'm not painting on stream, obviously I normally have some on, and not usually like. I tend to find if you have an overly visual reliant, medium on in the background, so say like a film or something like that, the temptation then is to look up at the screen. Yeah, it's starting to be now, yeah? So that's 3 layers of the base coat there. Yeah, sorry, the temptation is to then look up at the screen. You're watching a movie, something you like, maybe a film. Oh, sorry, not maybe a film, maybe a program, maybe a TV series or something along those lines. And your temptation then is to look up. Your temptation is to look away at the thing that you're doing because it's a visual medium. And the problem, you shouldn't, if you're already doing a hobby that is visual reliant, the best thing to do is to obviously not, in my opinion, either A, have a, if you're going to do that, put something on that you're kind of not, or you do one or two things. Have it on the background, but like drop the window, like minimize the window or whatever, so it's just in the taskbar, and you can't actually, you can hear it, but you can't look up and see. And then what I'd have on the web browser there is, you know, photos, inspiration of whatever it is that you are supposed to be painting. So even though, so then your temptation is to look up, but when you look up, you won't see the program or the film or whatever it is that you're watching. You'll see your motivation, your inspiration, your actual, you know, the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. Or I tend to listen to either music or podcasts, again, that don't require you to, that won't take away your attention. So there's the base coat for that. So we've got a nice chocolatey brown, oh, like a rich chocolate brown there. We've got the red there. Some of the red has actually gone off on the doodah. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of that brown there. I think that's just medium. Always give your paints a really good shake. You find that they will tend to they don't normally, like really good paints these days don't really separate, but you'll still end up with a thing where you get medium or binder or whatever it is, not actual pigment. Oh, bless me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just go back in with the brown there and just paint over. Paint over the existing brown. Let's make sure we've got that. Now I'm going to go up to this. I'm going to go up to the edge. The boundary, or whatever you want to call it, between the fur and the cloak itself in a second. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. Make sure I get that in there. Can always change that if I need to later on. It's not important right now. I'll turn it upside down, make sure that bottom bit there is actually fur. So that needs to get painted in the fur colour. Okay. So what I've done here is I'm just turning the model upside down, and that allows you to see the transition between cloth and fur. But I want this, don't worry if this, you'll see in a second, because I've turned it upside down. You're going to see like the ridges, yeah? And obviously this is raised above the other piece of detail. There, it's 3D relief. So the 3D relief will also have these recessed lines here. recessed. I don't mean recessed. The cloak is recessed back. The actual fur has a lip to it. So what I'm doing is just making sure I hit all that with the brown, and then we are going to use washes to help us define that a little bit more. But I'm just going to leave that there for a second. I'm just going to go turn the heating off because the heating's, oh come on, and it's turning the place into a giant into a giant hot box. Oh, that's better. Okay. Oh. So now you'll see slightly where the brown has sort of overspilled now onto the cloak a little bit. But that's okay because we're gonna go over the fur when it's fully dry with some Aglax Earth Shade. I'm going to mix in a little bit of black into it as well. I might add actually a little bit of Armor Wash. And like I said before, Armor Wash is basically like a black ink with some blue in it. So the blue, the black, and the brown will work quite well. It will kind of shade, and it will shade the fur fine, really nicely. And this will give it a really deep shade. Let me just sort of show you what I'm doing here. This will help just to shade that cloak, get into the really deep gaps, deep recesses, and then when we come and pick out each individual little bit of fur with a lighter colour with a very fine brush, that will just help us to keep that definition. So what I'm going to do is actually turn it upside down. Okay, I'm going to turn them up because I want the shade. I want the shade to actually be in the recesses there. So let's do this. There we go. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm keeping this bit here brown. I'm not going to paint it any other colour. So as you can see, what I'm doing first is I'm going around that edge, that lip, okay, with the wash first. I'm building that line, that division between fur and cloth. But that blue and that black and that brown will work well as a shade for this red as well, because remember, it has some brown with some blue, you know what I mean? So it kind of all works really well. Now let's go over all of the fur with this wash. The reason why I want it upside down for still is it will force the wash to go down and into, like I said before, into the recesses of the fur. Okay, and the shade will be where it really needs to be anyway, which is on the underside. You know, the stuff is shaded. It's on the underside. It's not, you know, on top. Shadows are underneath. This is just a nice simple process. Nice simple process. It will take a while to dry, and I will have to keep it upside down. Now, I used to have a little gizmo to help hold the models upside down, which was two bamboo skewers or whatever, two chopsticks, whatever you want to call them, kebab skewers. And I used to basically, like, I would rest the kebab skewers. We used to make them go across a disposable cup, disposable plastic container, a beaker or something like that, and then I just rest the base, either side of the base on the. It would just keep it upright. Okay. So I just turn it round. You can now see the wash has gone into the recesses there. And what that's done already is it's already created a segregation, a line of. This is very simple stuff, very simple. That just the combination of black, brown, and blue in the wash has just sort of lifted that brown up already, and will help shade the red. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this upside down there for a second. So I'll hold it upside down while it dries. Thank you, Green Eye Big Bad Wolf. Thank you for your compliments. Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. We're gonna still add some shade to the red cape there. Essentially, I'm going to be doing some, like I say, some two-brush blending. We're going to be putting the some pure sanguine base in the highlight, and I'm going to just wet my brush, and I'll bring it up to that color, and I'll pull it down, and that will give us a nice transition. I'm going to put it in there as well, but a straight up like thin. I'll do it really thin and just like make sure it goes down that line, and then down this line and down that line, and we'll put it in there, and we'll just start to bring it down this line here, very thin. We'll fill these little gaps, and then we'll add a bit more of a deeper color into it as well. So when we come to paint this, I'm literally going to be using. This is where the what do you call it? Like a really fine brush will come into. I'm literally going to be putting my paint in the my brush in the paint. Sorry, and I'm just going to be dabbing on the dab. I'll be dabbing on those fur, those pieces of sculpted fur there. So that the wash is at the point where it's drying enough that I can now turn it back upright, and just let it dry now on its own terms. Like it's kind of the wash is quite a sticky formula. That wash is using the P3 stuff. It's quite a bit of a stickiness, so it's actually kind of it's going in the recesses, and as it dries, it holds. You don't have to worry about it streaking down. Oh, that's a nice beer. I mean, the actual painting of the highlights should be very, very straightforward. And of course, the thing is, don't forget, on the back of this cloak, we've got a great big bloody shield anyway, okay? So, I mean, you can see here, okay, so let me show you. So where I've glued this stand to the shield is a contact point. The contact point is actually one of the two nubs. This is also a contact point as well, this skull, I believe, if I'm correct. So you have a nub here, a nub there, and that head there. Okay? Well, here you have a recess for a contact point, recess for a contact point, and then this little recess here as well. So my guess is that the skull is going to go into that recess there, that divot there, oh sorry, that divot there is going to go into that top one, and the one that I've glued the actual stand to is going to go into this one here. So if I'm using my head, really, the only highlights I need to really do, okay, are either side of the shield. So what I will do is I will kind of essentially, in my head, draw like the shape of the shield in my head, roughly, and I'll just sort of like, I'll highlight slightly inside the line. So inside that, the footprint. So inside the footprint that I kind of mapped out for that shield, I will still slightly highlight inside of that, just so when I glue, when I eventually glue it on, it won't be jarring. There won't be this like weird line, of highlight, color, and shade. So it's all kind of, and then when the shield's on anyway, I will go in with a light wash and just blend in the shadow areas. I'll be doing it on the cape as well, just to tone down where the shadows, just tone it down so the shadows are where the shadow's supposed to be with this shield on there. So I'm just going to, may as well just do that now, I suppose, some of that two-brush blending I was on about. So, I'm going to take my size 2 in my mouth. I'm going to grab some pure sanguine highlight. I'm just going to mix it here. Not mix it, sorry, but I'm going to grab some of the other colour, the previous colour, add it in there, and add a bit more, okay? So there's the colour on the brush, there's the cape. Take the brush there, and pull it down. Make sure your brush is wet, and what this does is it feathers the edge. You don't smush it, you basically grabbing the tip of that paint and bring it down. You don't actually, and this, it's beneficial to actually just put the in this case put the paint down raw, undiluted. I'll do some deep shadows in a sec. I'm gonna mix in some of that whole red, and that's gonna really make things pop. You could add in some dark blue, like a muted dark blue, because that would basically push the shadows into the purples more, because it has obviously some blue in it, makes it more on the purple side. And the reason why these paints, obviously when they were being designed for their specific factions for the game that they were designed for, which was War Machine. This particular color, this is sanguine base, was basically to paint one of the main colors of the Protectorate of Menoth faction, which on the outset you think looked basically like they were basically painted white and red, but they weren't. They were actually painted in a purple, but obviously a purple that was more into the reds, but it was basically it was based around purple and yellow. So the white had yellow in it, so it was like an off-white that had some yellow, and then the red had some purple in it. So those two colours were together, like worked really, really well, like really, really well. Can't see a damn thing, can you? So sorry. So what I've done, I'll just show you again. Take the sanguine base, go down the gap, down that line, take your wet brush, and you're going into that and you're pulling it through. You're blending it out just so it kind of comes, so it just blends in together. Turn your brush around, make sure there we go, look, and then pull it back out. I need to work on my what do you call it, really. Let me just put some of this colour in the don't you worry, we're going to put some doodah in here in a minute. We're going to shift gears. We're going to put some of that whole red, and that is really going to change the whole dynamic. I'm just going to go in here quickly with some just some blobs of colour. I'm not going to worry about blending these in just yet. Okay, just going in with that deep purple type colour. Okay, but I'm not going to worry too much about blending it in now at the minute, just for a second. Okay, because once we go with the whole red, it will change the dynamic of the model anyway. I'm going to put some of this down this center line as well. Okay. Then just bring my blending brush just like that. Rough and ready. That's string enough. And then so that's going to be. These are in there as well. We've got some left on the brush. Yes, we have. So just in this bit of here, into there. Okay. Now, let's take. I don't want this to be a huge jump. So we're going to take Sanguine and chuck it in here, and then we're going to take the whole red. Give it a quick shake, make sure it's shaken up pretty well, and then we're going to add in, I'm going to put the whole red into there. I'm going to take from there and put that into there. And that's shifted immediately because there's a lot of blue in here. So go to that top part, put it down. What I don't want to do is just smush. You actually want to blend it in. Blend it in. Turn the model over. Make sure you get the model from the other side as well. Blend it in. Okay, we're gonna make sure we hit the recessed holes. We're going there with some pure. Okay. Make sure to get some of that colour in those recesses there. Make sure to shade. This, I need to make sure that this is a transitional shade. Oh, we're probably going to go pure. We'll go pure whole red right after, but that's like the deep shade. Mm. It's very quick once you get the hang of it. I'm going to just do a little bit of layering and then two-brush blend it in. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So what's so the reason why they're getting deep, the colours are deepening for, is because of the transition now into the essentially the blue hues. Okay, I'm gonna pull that colour down a bit more. Now you wait when we use this whole red. So you say I could just have easily added in, like I said before, some dark blue, a nice muted dark blue. In the case of this paint range, these P3 paints, Exile blue, which I do have somewhere, is the colour to be. That is the colour to go to when you want to deepen the shadows of Sanguine Base, which is a purplish red. Go with Exile blue, which is again just a. Well, that's not really an issue at the minute. So go in there with a little bit of that, and then pull them down. We're going there with okay. So now I'm going to go in with pure, well, not necessarily pure whole red, but I'm going to take the existing colour that we made and just basically add in loads of whole red to it. I might even add a little bit of Prussian blue. Why not? As Bob Ross used to say, shoot, let's have some fun. And of course, the idea of fun for Bob Ross was basically added in like some, whatever, some colour to the other colour or whatever, just to, or I think I might have actually figured that a little bit. Let's just hammer that down a little bit. There we go. There's way too much blue in there now, though. And what this will do as well, this will add a cold tone to the cloak before we get to the actual deep tones of the red, or the warm tones of the red, shall I say. So what I'm going to do here, actually gonna just go around the very edge with that colour, not blending, and then I'll put another layer down, and then we'll blend that in. You'll see what I mean in a second. to deepen those shadows. Just like that. Little nub there. A little bit of shadow there. In here, especially, get that straight in there. Get that in these little holes here. Get them in. Just get that. Just get this dark color, this whole red with a little bit of blue, a little bit of Prussian blue. Just mix that together a little bit, just to shift it to the colder side, the blue side, the purple side, the blue side of purple. I mean, your shadows are going to be cold anyway, you know. They're going to be cold. Then what we'll do is on the obviously when we come to what do you call it? Right, so I'm going to take a fine brush. I'm going to just mix it a bit more blue. I'm going to go around the very edge. And just basically outline. And then pull down the middle there. Just pull down a little bit. Pull down there. Just like that. Make sure to get all these little tears in the fabric there, okay? Make sure we get them. Because when we hit the underside with that, basically essentially which would be the highlight red colour, it'll be amazing. It's going to just absolutely pop. That's a really good shadow colour. Cold, dark shadow colour, which will contrast really well. Contrast really well. Make sure to go around that brown bit of fur cloth. Okay. Just like that. So already those deeper shadow colours already blocked in. I might just keep them like that if I'm honest with you.
In the beginning, before creation,
There was darkness. This is a really nice tune. I like this tune. It's good. So don't forget to get the thingies around here, these little holes around here, look. Again, hit them with this colour. We'll go back in there with the blue. Make sure to get the shadows. Okay. Any little recesses. We can always adjust them later on. It's not an issue. Nothing is ever permanent. You'll be able to cover over a colour with another colour eventually, you know. It's fixable. Oh, I mean, I've seen people literally paint over entire already painted areas. You know, they won't bother stripping the model back, you know, to the primer or whatever. They should just go over it with the new colour, you know, just give it a couple of layers and it'll go over or whatever. See quite a few people that just do that. I personally couldn't do that. I tend to need to strip the model right back and what. Okay. So can you see? So maybe here, I think this one here might need a little line there. This here is a bit recessed as well, so just pull that colour down there. Like that. And what I'm doing here is, this is just the framework. This is still a rough sketch because next all we're going to do is go in with highlight colours. And then we can just sort of like try and... So as if my final highlight is this going to be this red here, this has to literally be on the very extremities of the cape, okay? We're going to work down the model. So the darkest area will be at the top, lightest area is going to be at the bottom here, and then on the actual extremities of where you can see the light there, the sheen. That's basically going to be where our highest highlight is going to be. Okay, that's that pure red. That's going to be that pure Kador red base. Probably, more likely, maybe not. I might do say a 2 parts to 1 part or something like that, just to make sure it's not too overpowering. We'll see, because I'll just push. I can push the highlights up and knock them back as much as I want. And then if I really, really, really needed to, I could just make a very thin glaze of this paint here, okay? And all I would do is just make a very thin glaze and then go over the entire cape with that glaze. And what that would do is it would then give it a top layer, a very thin, very, very thin top layer over the whole cape, and would tone down those really vibrant red parts if needed be. Okay? So let's look at highlights. Why not? Let's look at highlights. So one thing I'm going to do very, very quickly is just take a bit of kitchen roll. Just going to make sure that I've got uncontaminated oh, bless you, mate. Undefined gnome. Good to see you again, mate. Yeah, I'm still here, pal. We're having a bit of a longer one than normal tonight. See as how I don't have school tomorrow morning. Or work, rather, should I say. But I always jokingly say it's school night. Okay. So all I've done is I just made sure that I've got a uncontaminated well there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Mephiston red, which is going to be our main colour. This is the main colour. So I'm going to take probably 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 brushfuls of that, and then we'll take 1 brushful of, maybe add a bit of this in there as well. There we go. A bit more. You can always add. You can always add. You can't take away. A bit more. There we go. Close enough is good enough. And we're going to add water. Add water. Now, ideally, just testing it on my. You ideally want to. It shouldn't really. That's really what you're after. Okay. Oh, let's compare the fingernails. So that's you there. You can see that's too thick, too shiny. This has got much more smooth, better smoothness. Okay, smoother coverage. So that's a good way. Just a good way to make sure you're not. And then I'm gonna bring. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start where the top highlight is gonna be, and that's on this bit here. Okay, and then I'm gonna start on the highlight down here, and then I'm just gonna kind of mark out the higher points of the red. So we'll just start there for now. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just paint away. Bring that red down. This is but it will dry darker. I know it looks quite bright, but it will dry much darker. All I'm doing is mapping out, okay? I'm just mapping out where I want the high points to be, the brightest points. I'm just mapping it out. Then I'll do the blending between those bits. So we'll quickly go back to. Okay, there we go. I just switch to this one sometimes just to be safe and sorry, because I know for a fact that this one is license free. I think it's I shouldn't have any issues with this one. This song, this track, going with any. Not that I should anyway, because I'm not monetized or anything, so. Like I said before, I'm just planning out where. I'm not quite there. I'm not quite 50. Just let's just what you call it. So I'm just gonna put this there. So all I'm doing is just putting down. I just want an idea. So if you look at this already, okay, you can see where I'm kind of going with this. You can see there, you can still see there's quite that dark transition between there and there, okay? I want to make sure this bit here has some red on it, this brighter red. Bring it down. I want to make sure this bit here has that brighter red as well. And then all the little divots need to have that brighter red underneath them as well. But ideally, that needs to be the highest highlight color, just to give that sense that the light has actually hit the inner lip of that the tear in the cloth, like the damage in the cloth. I will go back into these again with the dark blue colour. Okay, you can see that's coming on. That looks quite nice so far. I still have those. Thank you. I still have those darker areas. Okay. And then the key will be to like basically get the transition between those areas. So for instance, this could mean just simply taking some of the sanguine base, a little bit of the mix I've used for a highlight colour, add in the sanguine base just to drop it down a touch, shade or two, but not as dark as our main shade colour. And then all I'm going to do just kind of stipple, okay? The highlight colour mixed in with the shade colour, just stipple along that highlight line. And what that should do, hopefully, what that will do is just help that transition between the light and the dark. So again here I want that transition. This top part of the cloak here, top part of the cloak here is going to be highlighted here. It's going to kind of be highlighted here as well. Wherever there's a line that's slightly raised, okay. So here, like a kind of a sort of triangle shape really, and then here, and then pull that colour down. And we'll add a bit of a darker colour to the whatever sort of ground colour I decided to paint the base. We'll make sure we get some of that on the cloak as well. Just helps tie the model in together with the Okay, so I want to make sure that I get above that recess. Okay. But also I've got this bit here. So when I come to highlight this and pull this down, but this bit here will always be that darker colour, and this needs here to be a highlight colour there. Okay, then bring that down. Oh, because I was thinking so fast there. There we go. Let's clean the brush. These are synthetic brushes anyway, so it's not too bad if they To be fair, I think if I grab this colour, add a bit of sanguine base to it, and just paint this down this side here, this will work quite nice. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Nice. That's really transitioned that quite nicely. I'll do the same thing here as well. Just takes that starkness away. Okay? Because the only bit that should be that deep colour is this line down here. This colour down here. Okay. That's this sanguine base. Water it down, thin it out, and kind of glaze it over here. So what I'm trying to do is get that transition, just smoothing it out. So here will be like a nice mid-tone colour as well. So I'll do is to take this, but we're gonna glaze this anyway. Like, even though I mentioned about saying that if it was too stark, that I would go over it with a sanguine base glaze. I had a feeling if I know you'd pick up on that. So basically, all I mean by that is, in painting terms. In fact, I can probably I'll best give you an example. So, what can I show you on? I've got something nearby I could probably show you. So when you paint a model, I'll show you on this, for instance. I don't mind doing it on this model. So this is doesn't matter what model it is. Okay, right. So I'll do a very quick and dirty, very quick and dirty like paint tutorial on this to show what glazing is. So with glazing, all you're doing is basically trying to knock down the starkness. So I'll show on this arm here. It's just gonna be easier. So I'm gonna paint this. This is Mephisto red. This is just a nice. It's a really good base color. Dries quite dark as well. It's a really good base color of the stuff. Okay. I'll show you the best example. Okay, so there's a piece of the red armor. So then, what you would accidentally do, or whatever. Do I have? I don't have any white on me anyway. But let's just say you make your, what's this one? Vampire Fang. Okay, this will do. So if I, for instance, use this cream, kind of bone cream colour, it would work quite well because it has some yellow in it, and it would just make it quite a soft orangey colour, the red. Let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say I've done all this already, all this model's all done already. So I go over the edge with this, say it's a white colour. Let's just say it's a stark white. I do this edge as well in this colour. So this, well, for one, obviously there's no transitions anyway, there should be. But that just sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's just, it's too much of a jump in colour. So for instance, if I was painting, if I had some white and I was painting red, well, you don't usually really highlight, you don't highlight red with white because it will turn it pink. But what you can do, let's say if you did use white to highlight red, it turned it pink. Well, what you could actually do is use a very thin wash or glaze of the original red colour, and what that would do was it will tint the highlight. So if the highlight's too red, it's too much on the red spectrum. So if I'll show you. I don't really have anything. So glaze. Okay, this is my hand. I've made it's like a very thin wash of colour, very thin. All this is glaze is designed to tint the hue of an existing set of colours. So in this case, this shoulder pad here with these white edges, but if I wanted to retain the highlight but make it more red on the red spectrum and not this white colour, I would then simply go over it with a red glaze, and you would do multiple passes of the glaze. You just keep going over layers, and eventually you would shift it back. You would shift it more to the red spectrum. So you're essentially tinting an existing colour. So what I would be doing in essence with this cape, the cloak, sorry. Yeah. So if I would just basically, what I would do is go over certain areas where the transition is maybe too bright, take my mid-tone, which is, well, I'll probably do a mixture of this colour and then the Mephiston red, do a mixture of that just to knock it down, thin it out, and then go over the whole area and just tint, and it shifts it, makes it all in the same hue. Then you don't get these huge random jumps in color. So I'm going to take pure Mephiston red, and I'm going to add that into this well here. Take some of the first highlight color, mix that into, add some water. I mean, literally the Kador red, highlight base is literally just the very top highlight there. So again, I'm starting with the extremities, which I find the easiest way to find my points of light. Bring the highlight down. Don't start in the same place as before. Bring the highlight down. Bring it down. So this here, I'm bringing it down. I want to leave some of that existing previous that existing highlight color down on there to help show transition. Okay. This bit here. Just bring the highlights down. Don't keep them in the same place. It's all about contrast. And bring the colour down. I have a feeling that this is gonna be basically one more highlight maybe. I want the cloak to still be in the dark, you know, in the dark sort of side of the red. But it just so happens that the pull those colors. So pull the highlight. Yeah, it just happens that I'm just sort of going into the slightly more brighter red here. But literally that the final highlight of red. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Undivided Node, thank you very much, mate. I think I'm probably going to call it a night now anyway. It's the top of the hour. It's 11 o'clock. So why don't we call it a night anyway? So let's call it a night. Just gonna. This is as good a place as any just to leave it. Just pull that colour down there a little bit. Just like that. Okay, I think I could pick up where I left off next time with this. So here's what we've achieved so far in the session. We've thank you very much, mate. I'll do my outro in a second, mate, so we can. Well, here we go. It's a quick spin around. So we've joined. So in this video, we glued the two pieces together. We've made a nice seamless thingy there, and then we're not, you know, we're not quite there with the cake. Maybe 1 or 2 highlights left on there, and then the third left to go. So I am going to hit the see you next time screen. I'm going to shut down the music here, and I'm going to play for you my new outro theme. Thank you everyone for coming by. I really do appreciate everyone that stopped by, and I will see you next time on BigDsBrush. Bye bye for now.
Time to pack it all away. It's the end of another day, the end of another stream, where heroes dare to dream. Raise your brushes to the sky, close the paint pot, say goodbye. But don't you worry, don't you fear, our minis wait for when we're here. Armor shining, weapons drawn, battles of brains, verses brawn. But don't you worry, Big D's brush will soon return.